Hello again. Yes, I realize I'm making another video within half an hour of a video I just posted. I have a good reason. I really want to talk about this. I should have talked about it already, but I didn't. Like I mentioned in the end of 2022 video, it wasn't a great year. And, even though there were some things that I really should have talked about and really wanted to talk about, I just didn't. I didn't do anything. Now, what I'm about to talk about, you did see. If you looked at my shorts, if you saw the shorts that I posted during 2022, you did see this. Because I posted a picture of it, or a short of this bottle. So I have it. I have this here in this glass, okay, and I'm going to give you some tasting notes. And it's not really a review; it's more a tasting. And there's a reason for this, for all of this, for the stuff in the glass and what I'm going to talk about. And that reason is friends. So a while back, it's a while back, at Black Bear, we have several friends. We have lots of really good friends, right? And one of them came to us by way of another friend initially, but came to us and asked if he could help us, or if we could help him, or if we could cooperate. Kind of all the same thing, right? If we could work together on this project. And we didn't necessarily know where the project was going, but essentially what he was asking was, can he and us make a bourbon together? Now, he paid for the grain, and me and my assistant at the time, we helped make the stuff. That assistant's gone. That's not a thing. He moved away. No big deal. But we worked on this with him. Now, his name is Otis. Otis is a retired colonel from 10th Special Forces Group. And when he said he wanted to make a batch of bourbon, he wanted to fill a barrel, and he would like our help, I was more than happy to help. Victor was also more than happy to help. So what we did was we made this bourbon with him. And the recipe itself is a pretty normal bourbon. But the aging went a little bit differently than we expected. So we made this back in 2018. Yeah, 2018. And kind of a weird scenario occurred where we started this batch and we got it through the still, and it was time to bottle it. And it just so happened that was Memorial Day weekend of 2018. Now, I'm a vet. Otis is a vet. We're heavily associated with vets. We have lots of vets that help us out. We really appreciate our military folks. And it was Memorial Day weekend. And so I decided to utilize my Memorial Day Monday as instead of going to do some of the things that vets typically go do, I went to work. I didn't have to be there. Probably wasn't supposed to be there technically. I should have taken the day off. I went anyway. I wanted to make sure that this bourbon got into the barrel on Memorial Day. Because I felt like it was important. So I labeled that barrel as Otis McGregor's Memorial Day Bourbon. And the goal was we're going to leave it for 2 years, which is minimum, right? And then come back and check on it. During that 2 years, we checked on it a couple of times. It was going really well. At the 2-year mark, when we tasted it, there was nothing, wrong with it. It was pretty good. But there was just a note that we wanted to kind of see if we could mellow out a little bit. So we left it for another year. So if you're doing the math on this, we're talking about May of 2021. We did another tasting of it, and that tasting was pretty good too. But there was still something about it that was just a little bit different. It was a citrus note. And we decided as a group that we would leave it in the barrel. And the theoretical date for the next tasting was going to be Veterans Day weekend of 2021. And that didn't happen for whatever reason. I don't remember if something specific happened, but we didn't do it. We got closer to Christmas, and that note was still kind of there. So we decided to go ahead and pull it from the barrel because we thought it was good, but that note was still there, but it wasn't bad. It was just an extra little note, right? So we pulled it from the barrel. So now, if you've done the math, it's been in the barrel for about 3.5 years. We're going into 2022, and the goal was to bottle it and have it ready to go by Memorial Day, because that made sense, right? Unfortunately, industry-wide, we had some issues. Bottles became a problem. Getting bottles was a huge issue for 2022. Whoa. So we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited some more. And finally, bottles arrived. It was way past Memorial Day. It was coming up to September of 2022. And it just happened that we were coming up to the 70th anniversary of 10th Special Forces Group. And now the goal became getting the bottles and getting this bourbon in bottles and ready in time for their celebration. And bottles came in 6 days? Yeah, about 6 days before the celebration. And it just so happened also that Victor was out of town. The crew that had been working with me was not working with me anymore. And my wife was out of town, and I was alone. Now, not to pump myself up too much, but in about a day, one afternoon, I bottled a few, but shortly thereafter, Otis arrived, and my good friend Mike, who I grew up with, he arrived, and we bottled all of it. What ended up being like 262 bottles. We bottled them by hand in that afternoon, which we were pretty happy with. So they were ready in time for the celebration, and a 3.5 year 90 proof bourbon that was really special to me and really special to Otis. So we got it ready, and it went out in September 2022, specifically for the celebration for 10th Special Forces Group. And it's a collaboration we're really proud of. It's not for sale at the distillery. It was entirely Otis's batch. So what Otis did with it is what Otis did with it, right? Once we finalized all the official paperwork and everything, it's his, right? So this is the bottle, right? Trojan Spirits, Commemorative Bourbon, right? It's a really pretty bottle, really pretty color on that bourbon. This is bottle 9. Sorry, I got my numbers wrong. 9 of 251. I was close. The reason I said the wrong number is because we ran out of bottles. We filled every one of these bottles. And you may say, how do you have that bourbon in that glass? But this is clearly not opened, because we had some empty bottles that aren't labeled that we had as sample bottles. So this is my sample bottle. This is where I poured my glass from. That's a nice thing about working in a distillery. Things like this that you don't have to open a bottle that you don't want to open. You might actually have a sample. In this case, I had a sample. Now, the 3 people that bottled these bottles, we decided that we were going to sign the first, I think we decided on the first 12. So, like I said, this is bottle number 9 of 251. So you can see there, you have at the top there, Otis's signature, in the middle, mine, and at the bottom, my good friend Mike, all including our branches of service. So this is like one of the most special things that I've been a part of in the distillery. And I'm just really proud of it, because it was really good. And the cause and the people that it was going to support, I appreciate wholeheartedly. So, to give you notes on this, and I've tasted it more than a few times. Clearly my sample bottle is low. But it has notes of butterscotch, which is a theme sort of for our bourbons at Black Bear. Caramel for sure, but it comes across with fig and some citrus. Like I said, that citrus piece, it was kind of like lemon peel, and it kind of stuck around, so it's still there. Raisin, honeysuckle, you can tell that the barley's in there. It just smells delicious. So it's got a really nice gold to amber color. Man, for 90 proof, super smooth, super easy to drink. All the caramel and honey and citrus, all that comes through on the flavor. But smoke and cedar, those come through. Orange peel, honeysuckle comes through again. And there's cinnamon. It's light, but it's there. It's in the back. Really interesting little kind of cinnamon note that hits you on the back of the palate. There's a little bitterness to it, but not in a bad way. It's a good bitterness. And interestingly enough, there's something in this that brings gunpowder to mind. If you've ever, been around enough gunpowder to taste it, you get a taste of it. That's there. Really subtle, but it's there. It's delicious. So, kind of sweet, delicious, a little bitter, a little bit of gunpowder. Sounds like every soldier I've ever known. I'm proud of it. It's really, really good. If you manage to be around Otis and he has any of this left and you manage to get some, I hope you really enjoy it. And I hope that you understand why we did it and why it was so important to us. And why 3.5 years of waiting was reasonable. It really meant a lot to us. So with that in mind, that's pretty much it for this video. But I want to finish off by saying cheers to those of you who've worn the uniform and done all the crazy and amazing things that you've done. Thank you, and cheers.